scared, Mother.
But why, Meg? You've been looking forward to going to school for a long time now.
I know, but I always saw Jenny coming home with neat-looking things and talking about her school friends and her teacher and the things they did at school. And it sounded like such fun, but now, standing here with my lunchbox, I start thinking, what if I lose my lunchbox? What happens if I lose my sweater? Or if I get lost coming home? Or I don't make any friends? Or I can't do something the teacher asked me to? Or...
In other words, Meg, you are afraid of a lot of things, right?
I guess so.
Which is the same thing as not being afraid of anything in particular. So, you're not really afraid of anything, right?
Well...
Actually, Meg, what you're afraid of is the unknown, and that's something everyone's a little nervous about. But your sister Jenny has told you a lot about what to expect at school, so it really isn't all that unknown to you, right?
I guess so. I remember some of the things.
Good. Think about all those things on your way to school, and then maybe you won't be so scared.
Isn't Jenny walking with me?
Yes, and so are some of her friends. In fact, her friend Betty has a brother. I think his name is Todd, and he'll be starting school today, too. He may even be in your class, so you'll have a friend before you even get there. Now, go tell Jenny it's time to go.
The first day at school can be frightening, but it can also be exciting. It is a big step for you, and there will be many new experiences waiting for you. Sure, you may be a little nervous, but remember, everyone has to go through it sometime, and everyone else in your class is feeling pretty much the same things you are. After all, it's their first day too. This is a process you will go through many times in your life. There will be your first graduation, your first day at junior high, your first day at high school, even, someday, your very first day at your first job. And every time you experience something for the first time, no matter what it is exciting and a little frightening. There are certain steps you can take to make your first day at school an adventure you can look forward to, rather than something that is scary. The most important things include being as prepared as possible and knowing as much as possible about what awaits you. There will still be plenty of surprises, but there will most likely be pleasant ones. Your parents or guardian, who is someone who looks after you and takes care of you and who is responsible for you, can help you prepare for school.
Jenny, how do I know if I'm prepared for school?
Prepared means ready. Mom helped you to get ready, Meg. Do you remember when she took you to school several weeks ago? She was registering you.
What does that mean?
That means she signed you up. She told them that you'll be coming to school this year, and she showed them your birth certificate to prove how old you are. That's because there are rules saying you have to be a certain age to start school.
Rules? About how old you have to be? And there are a lot about rules about going to school?
Oh, sure, there are quite a few. But you don't have to worry about them. Mom took care of most of them already. In fact, Mom's real good about those things because she went through it all with me. So she probably took care of everything. For instance, I know she already took care of the rule that says you have to be immunized.
What's that?
That means you get shots that are supposed to keep you from getting certain diseases like measles, polio, and whooping cough. Remember when Mom took you to get those shots?
Of course. I asked her how come I had to get shots when I wasn't sick, and she explained that these diseases could kill people, and children used to get them a lot before they started getting these shots.
Right. Well, Those diseases are contagious, which means that people get them from one another. And the school doesn't want anyone to get them. So, you see, there are so many people at school. If one kid gets the disease, a lot of them might get it. So the school has rules that say everyone has to have the shots before she can go to school.
I guess that's a good rule.
Of course it is. It's just like we have rules at home, right? Mom and Dad explain that the rules are for our safety. And that's how it is at school too, Jenny.
Like we aren't supposed to go swimming alone 'cause we might get hurt or something?
Exactly. Only at school, some of the rules are for what they call fairness. That's because there's so many of us at school.
Are those rules hard to follow?
No. You just learn them as soon as possible and then you'll always remember them.
Maybe you should tell me the rules before I get to school?
I can't. There are too many of them. But your teacher, well, she'll teach them to you when it's time for you to know them, Meg.
Give me a for instance.
Well, I don't really remember any of the rules for your grade. But when you get old enough to play on the big kids' playground, there are rules about safety and about taking turns. That way, everyone gets a chance.
How come the kindergarten kids like me can't play on the same playground as the big kids? How come? We all play together at home.
Well, sometimes the really big kids play so hard they don't notice the littler kids, and they could trip them or something, or they could forget that the little kids can't run as fast or jump as high, and you little kids could get hurt. It just isn't fair. Besides, in your playground, you have equipment like jungle gyms and things made just for you that your size. The jungle gym on the big kids' playground, will that be too big for you, Jenny?
I remember seeing the jungle gyms. There are 2 of them, and a sandbox, and swings.
Oh, there are also plenty of balls and jump ropes and other stuff, too.
Sounds like school's going to be fun. All I have to do is play all day.
Not exactly. You gotta listen to stories, and you get to sing songs and make things, too. And, of course, you'll learn.
What sorts of things will I learn?
Oh, you'll learn the alphabet, and you'll learn to count.
Oh, I already know those things. I can count up to 1,000,000,000.
Huh. Well, you'll learn to draw and read and write your name, and you'll learn all kinds of interesting things. You even learn about different kinds of people. I mean, about people from different countries and their languages.
Is that like when you talk funny?
I'm not talking funny when I do that. It just sounds funny to you because you don't understand it. It's Spanish, the language they speak in Spain and Mexico and some other countries. And I have some friends at school who spoke Spanish first because that's what their parents speak, and they had to learn English.
Give me for instance.
Okay. ¿Cómo está usted? Means, how are you? And me llamo Jenny means, my name is Jenny.
Me llamo Meg, right?
Yeah, exactly. See, you're already very good. You can say that to any Spanish-speaking kid in your class and make friends right away.
Oh, great. Then what would I say? I don't know more Spanish.
Well, there are special helpers at school who translate for the kids who don't speak English. That means they tell them what's being said, only they tell them in their language and help them to learn English. Sometimes the helper is someone in a higher grade, or even high school or college. And sometimes it's just someone's mother. Helpers are all really nice. Of course, lots of the teachers know at least 2 or 3 languages.
You like talking in different languages, do you?
Yeah, that's my favorite subject. That means I like learning languages better than I like studying about history or math or some of the other things we have to learn.
Oh, it sounds like there's just too much to learn.
Oh, no, Meg. You don't have to learn it all at once. You'll see. You'll like it.
So, one of the most important things to do in order to enjoy the first day at school is to be prepared. Some of the preparations have to be made in advance or a long time before the first day of school. These things include such things as registering or enrolling, which means you have to sign up so the school will know how many students to prepare for. This will enable the school to get ready for you, so everything will go pleasantly. The teachers and school staff have to make sure there will be enough teachers and adult helpers for the number of students attending or going to the school. There has to be enough tables and chairs, art supplies for painting and drawing, books, games, and everything else. So the school has to know exactly how many students there will be in each grade. Also in advance, you have to take the required medical precaution, which is the rule about getting immunization shots. There might be other rules of things you have to do in advance, so the adult who takes care of you should check with your school, because different schools have different rules. Another thing you should do to get ready for school is find out what supplies you need, and be sure to get them.
How do I know if I have everything I need for my first day?
Oh, Meg, Mom already checked. All you need for the first day is lunch.
Mom put it in my lunch box for me.
A lot of the kids have lunch boxes, and a lot just bring their lunches in paper bags. I remember when I was in the 2nd grade, it was a big deal whether you brought your lunch in a paper bag or a lunch box. I don't know who started it, but at first if you don't have a lunch box, you get teased. And then later, if you did have a lunch box, you got teased. That's sort of the stuff parents can't know in advance. So you just have to see what most of the other kids are doing. Then you decide if you want to go out of your way to do what everybody else is doing, or just forget it and do what you want to do. Of course, you can also buy your lunch at the cafeteria if Mom gives you the money. Just be careful not to lose the money.
What's the food like in the cafeteria?
Oh, it's pretty good. They have different things there. Usually, it's hot food, so I like to eat in the cafeteria when it's cold or rainy.
Can I meet you there and have lunch with you?
Well, we probably won't have lunch at the same time. The lower grades eat first. But don't worry, Meg. By then, you'll probably have plenty of friends to eat with.
Oh, Jenny, I hope so. But what if I do lose my lunch money?
Well, you just tell the teacher. She'll help you. Just don't make a habit of it. Most teachers are pretty understanding about forgetting something once in a while. But just don't forget your homework.
Homework?
Don't worry, Meg. You probably won't have homework right away. You don't even have your books yet.
How come you do?
Well, I don't have my school books yet. All I have here are my pencils and writing tablets and my notebook filled with notepaper. I have all this stuff because I know from last year that's what I'll need. I might have to take notes or write a paper about myself or my vacation and hand it in today. But like I said, you don't have to worry about that because you're only going to be in kindergarten. We only have 2 kindergarten teachers at our school, Mr. Harris and Miss Martin. They're both really nice, and they've been teaching kindergarten for a long time. so they know just what you'll be ready for. They know just what to expect. Oh, I wish I did.
Besides being physically ready for your first day of school, meaning having all the things you will need and having taken care of all the things you need to do beforehand, you should be mentally or emotionally prepared for your first day at school. This means that, as much as possible, you should know what to expect. One good way of doing this is to ask an older friend or brother or sister who has gone to the same school you will be going to attend. This person has had the same fears you are experiencing and knows what it's like. He or she can tell you about your school.
I remember my very first day at school.
Were you scared, Jenny?
Boy, was I. I didn't have an older sister to help me answer any questions, and we just had moved into this neighborhood.
I don't remember ever living anyplace else.
Well, we did. You just don't remember because you were still a baby when we moved. I still remember the old house, though. It was pretty nice, not as nice as this one. But I had some friends there, and I hated leaving them just before we started school. We were all the same age, and we would have started school together. Here, I didn't have any friends to walk with or anything. Mom said she would walk with me, but I didn't want any of the other kids to think I was a baby, so I said no. It was real scary, though.
Why did we move?
Mom and Dad said one of the big reasons was because of the school. The other one was farther away from the house. It would have been really a long walk, and Mom didn't want to drive me every day to school, and they said this is a better school.
What was the other school like? Was it that different?
I don't know. I don't remember what it looked like, even though I'd seen it, just driving by a couple of times.
Then what makes one school better than another?
Oh, I don't know. Better playground, better classrooms and teachers, more books and stuff like that, I guess.
Do you think ours is a good school?
Sure. I already told you you'll like it. You remember what it looks like, don't you? Mom took you there a couple weeks ago, just like she did with me when I first started.
Of course. I went there several times, so I'd know the way back and to school. We looked in the windows of the kindergarten. You know, I could see the tables and the chairs and even the easels along one side of the wall. But I didn't see any balls or jump ropes or books. There wasn't even any paper on the easels or paint or paintbrushes either. Pretty silly, if you ask me, having easels and no paint or paintbrushes.
They have them, Meg. They're in the cabinets behind the easels. And the books and the jump ropes and stuff are put away, too. Oh, the teacher will show you just where. In fact, if we get to school early enough, I'll be able to show you where some of the stuff is.
Oh, come on then, let's hurry.
It doesn't matter. We have to wait at the next corner for Betty and Jean anyway.
Oh, I think art is going to be my favorite part about the kindergarten. I always wanted to paint on an easel.
You don't have to say it'll be your favorite part about school. Just say it is your favorite subject.
Will I be allowed to paint as much as I want?
Of course not. You have to take turns with the other kids, or it wouldn't be fair. Besides, there are things you have to do as a group. Working in groups is part of being in school, and you'll learn other things you might like as much as painting.
I don't know. I like painting a lot.
Oh, look, there are Betty and Jean. They're already at the corner waiting for us.
Is that boy Betty's brother Todd?
I guess so. I never met him before. He looks like he's your age, though, so it must be him.
Look, he's carrying a lunchbox, too.
Good. Come on, Meg. Let's hurry.
First day of school. We talked about how you have to be prepared physically with all the things you will need for the first day and having taken care of all the things that you need to be taken care of before the first day. Then we talked about how you can be prepared in your mind, mentally and emotionally, for your first day at school. You can do this by knowing what to expect. One way to do this is to ask an older person who went to kindergarten at your school. Another way is to have someone, like one of your parents, for instance, take you to the school before the first day so you can look around and see what the school looks like. Some schools even give tours called orientation before the school year starts.
Look! There's Mrs. Colton. Oh, I'm glad she's back again this year.
Who's she, Jenny?
She's our crossing guard, Meg. See? She carries a sign that says stop, and when she holds it up, the people driving the cars can see her more easily than they can see us, so they know to stop so we can cross the street. She dresses like that with a bright reddish-orange band across her chest so the drivers can see her easily.
I don't remember seeing her when Mom and I walked to the school.
Oh, that's because school wasn't in session yet.
You mean she's there just for us kids?
Exactly.
How come there isn't one at every corner?
Well, they just have them at the big streets that have a lot of traffic, the ones with stoplights. There's another big street a couple blocks down on the other side of the school, Hart Street. There's another crossing guard there, an older man with a white beard. I walked home with my friend Patty a couple of times and met him. All the kids who go home that way say he's really nice. They like him as much as everyone who goes this way likes Mrs. Colton. Do you remember last year when I brought home a bouquet of flowers I made out of crepe paper from Mom for Mother's Day?
Yes, that was pretty.
Thank you. Well, anyway, when we made those in class, everyone who has Mrs. Colton for their crossing guard made an extra flower, and we put them all together so we had a big bunch of flowers to give her. She was really pleased. She likes us all a lot. I think that's why she does this for a job. She's even here on rainy days.
That's really nice.
Of course, you're not supposed to get so used to her taking you across the street that you forget to stop, look, and listen when you are on the smaller streets, because sometimes cars can go pretty fast on them, too. You do remember your safety rules, don't you?
Oh, sure. Cross only at the corners, and before crossing, stop, look both ways to make sure no cars are coming.
And be sure to listen for cars and motorcycles, too. And if there is a stoplight,
I cross when the light is green, and I stop if it is red. And yellow means the people in the cars have to slow down. But I should never try to run across if the light is yellow.
And what else, Meg?
I have to stop just as if it were red and wait for the green light. And I should never get into a car with a stranger.
Right. And don't you forget any of those rules. And if anyone ever does try to grab you and pull you into a car or anything, then there isn't a policeman around, then you run to Mrs. Colton if you're near here. Of course, if you're near school, you should run to your teacher or the principal or some other grown-up that you know.
As you can tell, there is more to being ready for your first day at school than just having everything you need and knowing what to expect. It's important that you know about other things that you should expect besides what happens while you're at school. For instance, you should be sure you know your way to school and how to get home again. You should know all the safety rules for walking to school, and if you ride a bike to school, you must know all the rules for bike riders. Very few kindergartners ride bikes to school, but some of the older students do, and you have to watch out for them as well as for cars. You should also be familiar with such things as the crossing guard in your neighborhood, and whom you can turn to if you are in trouble or if you need help. You also should know about what to expect when you are actually at school. One of the very first lessons you will have to learn is that you are not as special at school as you are at home. Your teachers will care about you, but at home you usually have to share your parents' attention with only a few brothers and sisters, or maybe you are an only child in your house. At school, there are many students, and your teacher has to divide her attention fairly and equally with everyone. You cannot expect to get more than your share of the teacher's time, and you cannot expect to get special favors. You must also share equipment, such as books and games. You must learn the rules, and you must follow them.
Oh, I remember some stuff I can tell you about your first day. Anyway, some stuff I remember from my first day. When we first walked into the classroom, the teacher had name tags all made up and put on a table. If you could read your own name, you took your name tag and pinned it on yourself. That way the teacher can tell whether or not you already know how to read your name. And then, when she wants to call you, she just looks at your name tag and knows who you are.
I already know how to read my name, Jenny.
Well, Meg, another thing that will probably be easy for you is that you have an unusual name.
What does that mean?
It means that there probably won't be anyone else in your class with your name. Sometimes there are 2 or 3 or even 4 people in a class with the same name.
Then, how do you know when someone is talking to you or the other person with the same name?
Sometimes you have to also go by the first initial of your last name. There was another Jenny in my kindergarten class, but luckily she wanted to go by her full name, Jennifer. So everyone just called her that and called me Jenny. So nobody ever got us mixed up.
Oh, I hope that there isn't another Meg in class. Because I certainly don't want to go by my full name, Margaret. I hate it.
Don't worry. The teacher won't make you go by that if you don't like it.
Tell me some other things I'll do on my first day.
Well, I remember on my first day, Miss Martin told us a lot of things we'd have to remember all year. It seems like a lot to remember, but once you get into it, it really isn't. And she didn't just make us sit there and listen to everything all at once. She told us some things, then let us play a while. Sometimes free choice, and sometimes a game she taught us, or someone picked that most of us knew.
What's free choice?
That means you get to choose what you want to do. During the year, you'll have assignments. That means the teacher will tell you what to do, like in art class. She might show you how to draw a tree. And then when it's your turn at the easels, you draw a tree the way she showed you.
I already know how to draw a tree.
She can probably show you a better way to draw a tree. You'll see. You know, learning new ways to do some things is part of what school is all about. It isn't just learning new things.
I thought I would just be allowed to draw whatever I wanted.
Sometimes you can. That's the part I was just getting to, if you'd let me finish. Doing what you want is called free choice. You only get to have free choice after you finish the work the teacher told you to do.
Then I think free choice is going to be my favorite subject.
Free choice isn't considered a subject, silly. Anyway, you probably want to use most of your free choice the first day playing games, so you can get to know how some of the other kids play and what they're like. And, like I said, in between all the games the first day, the teacher explains things. Like the rules of the classroom, for instance, in Ms. Martin's class, when she turns out the lights, that means she wants everyone to be quiet and pay attention to her. If she puts her hands on her head, that means she wants you to do the same thing, to let her know that you're ready to listen. You aren't supposed to talk when you have your hands on your head. It's like a signal to her. Of course, you may be in Mr. Harris's class, and he may do things a little differently. But he'll still probably explain everything the first day.
Is there a lot of rules that are explained the first day?
Sort of. But the teacher goes over it a little bit every day, so you don't have to learn it all at once. For instance, on the first day, your teacher will probably explain all about fire safety. That means she'll explain what to do if you're the first one to see a fire, and about how you should not run around and scream, but go directly to her and tell her right away. And she'll explain that the bells mean there is a fire drill, and that she'll tell you also exactly what you should do if there is one. There's a certain place you're supposed to go, and always in an orderly fashion.
Like what Dad had us do at home?
Exactly. Only at school, there are bells that everyone can hear, so you don't have to warn anybody else like you and I are supposed to do for each other at home. Everyone else will know what to do. Anyway, your teacher will probably explain this to you on the first day and remind you a little bit every few days, and then sometimes, in a couple of weeks or so, you'll have a real fireman come, and he'll explain everything to you. He'll probably even watch the whole school during a fire drill.
Just what is a fire drill?
Drill means practice. A fire drill means you practice what you would do if there was a real fire, only there isn't one. Only you never know when there might be a real one. So whenever you hear the fire drill bell, you have to act just like there is a real fire. And whenever you have another type of drill, like a drop drill or a safety drill, you have to act perfectly like there really is an earthquake or something.
What is a drop drill?
Well, there'll be a certain type of signal, like 2 short rings of a bell, or the teacher will say, drop, and you have to get under your desk and put your hands on the back of your neck to protect it. Your teacher will show you the position when she explains all this to you.
Oh, dear. School must be scary if they're all ready for so many horrible things.
Not really. They just have to be ready to take care of a lot of people in an emergency, just in case. Or nobody's parents would leave their kids there. Now, they are ready for anything, even small accidents. Now, in Miss Martin's class, she has plastic buckets for everyone in class, and they're all kept alphabetically with your names on them. She told us the first day of school to bring a change of clothes and keep it in our buckets in case we spill paint on ourselves or get wet or something.
Hey, guess that's a pretty good idea.
Sure it is. Most teachers have lots of good ideas like that.
That way, if I lose my sweater and get cold, I'll have something else to put on.
Sure. Of course, there is a lost and found.
What's that?
If you find anything at school that doesn't belong to you, you turn it in to the lost and found. That way, you know where to go if you lose something. Maybe somebody else found it and turned it in there.
Where is it?
The teacher will show you when he or she takes you on a tour of the school, probably today or tomorrow. Of course, they always show you where the bathroom is right away. But other stuff, like the nurse's office and the principal's office, they can wait and show you tomorrow. It depends on the teacher's schedule.
What kind of schedule?
Well, every teacher has a schedule. That's like a list of what activity you do at a certain time. For instance, Meg, you may have art first, then story time, then outdoor playtime, then music, or you may have music first, then outdoor time, or whatever. It's the order of how you do things. It's different in every class, but usually you do the same things at the same time. Certainly you have lunchtime the same time every day.
It's so different than nursery school, I guess.
Oh, in some ways, yeah. But you're too old for nursery school now. Believe me, once you've been to kindergarten, you'll be glad, Meg. You'll never want to go back to being in nursery school again. Don't you feel more grown up just going to regular school?
Yes, I guess so. But why do we have to go to school at all, Jenny? Why can't we just stay home and hear Mom and Dad teach us everything?
Oh, you learn lots of things in groups. For instance, there's a game you play in kindergarten to learn the sounds of words while you learn the alphabet. It's the first step to learning to read. The teacher will give you a letter like A and tell you about a sound it makes. A makes the sound ah. Then you take turns walking around the schoolyard and seeing things or remembering things that have that sound, and you call it out. Apple, axe, automobile, answer. Then you go back and talk about it. You can even keep score to see who thought of the most words. Now that wouldn't be any fun if you were learning it alone, would it?
I guess not.
You do want to make friends, don't you?
Sure. But what if I don't? What if nobody likes me? Or I do something wrong and everybody laughs at me?
You know what your problem is, Meg. You're worrying too much. You never had any trouble making friends on the block. Why do you think you'll have any trouble making friends in school? Did you have trouble making friends in nursery school?
No,
Well,
but I wasn't there very long. If I got in a fight with someone, before I knew it, Mom was there to take me home. And at home, when I'm playing with someone, Mom is always there.
I think that's what's really bothering you, little sister, isn't it? You're afraid you're going to miss Mom.
I guess so.
Everyone feels that way, Meg. A lot of kids even cry the first day. And if you feel like crying, go ahead and cry. But just for a little bit. Then you'll see. If you give school a chance, there's so much to do. You'll be so busy you won't even miss her. The day'll go really fast. And then Mom will want to hear all about it when you see her. So will Dad. It's really exciting to have interesting stuff to tell Mom and Dad, and they really get proud of you when you do good work or show them something you made.
Do you really think I'll make friends?
Of course.
How?
Just like always. Be yourself and be friendly and never make fun of anybody and give everyone else a chance. And follow the rules. You don't have to try very hard making friends, it just happens. You'll see.
Oh, thanks, Jenny. I guess I'm not so scared anymore.
Good, because here we are. Now I have to go to my classroom. You know where the kindergarten is. You and Todd go ahead and have a good time. Enjoy your first day at school.
Once you realize that you have to follow the rules and share with all the other students in your class, you'll be ready to learn the rules. You'll be ready to learn everything you can at school. School isn't just for learning subjects like art and music and reading and writing. It's also for learning such things as how to make friends and get along with other people. You learn how to work as part of a team or group. You learn how to use time wisely. You learn new ways of doing things you already know. You learn things that are brand new to you. You learn things that are important parts of growing up. So,
Nick, you've been looking forward to going to school for a long time now.
I know, but I always saw Jenny coming home with neat-looking things and talking about her school friends and her teacher and the things they did at school. And it sounded like such fun, but now, standing here with my lunchbox, I start thinking, what if I lose my lunchbox? What happens if I lose my sweater?